The question I'll be addressing today is whether or not David Armstrong has an adequate response to the problem of qualia. So what is qualia? Well, qualia has been dubbed the hard problem in philosophy because at its simplest, it is a term used in philosophy to refer to individual instances of subjective, conscious experience. Or, as American philosopher Daniel Dennett puts it, qualia is an unfamiliar term for something that could not be more familiar to each of us, the ways things seem to us. For example, Thomas Nagel's famous "What is it like to be a bat?" Or, what I experience when I feel the pain of stepping on shards of glass. These are both examples of qualia. But why is qualia not physical? And hasn't science attempted to explain it? Well, yes, science has. But even after more than half a century since Nagel asked what it is like to be a bat, scientists are still baffled on the problem of qualia. However, they can describe what causes qualia. Consider the following example. The sea might feel cold to you, but tepid to me. Yet chemists and physicists may tell us of the water's molecular motion and kinetic energy, describing what is physically taking place. The motion and energy thus interacts with our nervous system, then we have the experience. But science can still not tell us what it is like to have that first-person, individual, subjective feeling of cold or tepid water. So, now that we know what qualia is, where does Armstrong first encounter qualia within the nature of the mind? Well, firstly, he refutes Gilbert Ryle's crude behaviorism for its inability to explain how an individual can feel angry, happy, sad, etc. on the inside, however not demonstrate any kind of physical behavior of this feeling. Perhaps I could look perfectly contained on the outside, but be furious on the inside. This is the biggest problem of crude behaviorism. Upon trying to resolve this problem through the new disposition to behave, therefore having a liability to manifest my anger, delight, or dismay in certain circumstances, another problem surfaced. This is the problem of qualia. So, how does this problem arise? This arose through Armstrong's central state theory. Armstrong posits that the mind is identical with certain physical states of the central nervous system. These inner states causally mediate our behavior, but, as a matter of empirical fact, such states are physical. For example, you are hit in the head, which is the stimulus. You feel the pain, which is the mediator, and you react by crying out, which is the response. But the mediator is purely physical. It's the brain and the central nervous system. The problem of qualia thus arises from this theory. If our mind is nothing but an inner principle apt for bringing about certain sorts of behavior, then how can it account for a first-person point of view? We are conscious, and we have experiences. As individuals, only we can know what it feels like for us individually to hear the scratching of nails down a chalkboard or to see the colour orange. Armstrong's account does not do justice to such phenomena. Armstrong's solution is to compare consciousness with sense perception and is explained in terms of a physical state of the central nervous system. Just as our sense perception enables us to distinguish between different sounds and colours, and just as such is a physical state of the central nervous system, so our consciousness allows us to differentiate between our own mental states. Consciousness, then, is like perception, except that it is perception of one's own mental state. You can scan your inner states in the same way you can scan a physical environment and differentiate between things such as color. Therefore, perception, via introspection, we become directly aware of qualia in a way that is comparable to the direct awareness we have of the properties of perceptual objects. However, some problems do occur with Armstrong's theory. Armstrong says that we cannot directly observe the minds of others, but we can directly observe our own minds and perceive what is going on there. However, if mental states were purely physical, as he believes, wouldn't it be possible, at least in principle, to directly observe other people's as well as our own mind? That is, to observe a physical manifestation of the hurtfulness of pain. For example, not just the excitement of particular neurons that may be present when pain occurs. Pain, for example, is not merely a brain state of C fibers firing, for anything that feels like pain is pain. It doesn't matter if it is C fibers firing or something quite different. Our knowledge of pain is not hostage to the question of whether we have C fibers inside of us or any other particular kind of biological engineering. This is a first-person authority. What if, say, scientists discovered that shrimps do not possess C fibers? Would we then declare that shrimp cannot feel pain? Furthermore, what about patients whom, when under anesthesia, can no longer feel the physical pain on their body, although it is being severely inflicted upon? These questions remain problematic to Armstrong's central state theory. However, it is undoubtable that we are getting closer to discovering the inner workings of the mind. Most recently, this year, Dutch scientists discovered that by using MRI technology, they could make it possible to reconstruct a picture of what the person was looking at the time of the scan. It has so far been used to compare letters of the alphabet, but could be expanded to imagery. However, this is not the same as reading thoughts. Yet, if it is discovered that the brain reacts to imagination in the same way it reacts to physical visual stimuli, the mind reading would be possible, potentially leading to so-called telepathic computer programs. Armstrong was certainly right in one thing, that is, saying that scientists would work out all the nitty-gritty physiochemical details of the central nervous system. However, this still does not solve the problem of qualia. Even if machines were able to project the images that someone sees within their mind, this still would not project the way individuals feel at the time. Could Armstrong offer a physiochemical explanation for what some people might regard as a religious epiphany? I suspect not. Thank you for listening.